Have you been feeling more tired than usual lately, as if your strength is slipping away for no apparent reason? We often look for physical explanations for our exhaustion, aging, sleep patterns, or maybe a lack of exercise. But what if I told you that the real cause isn't where you think? This deep fatigue you're experiencing might be rooted in the way you're living, the internal battles you face every day, and the expectations you carry without even realizing it. In this video, we're going to uncover the less obvious but most powerful reasons behind your exhaustion. We'll explore how Stoicism and other practical philosophies can help you understand why you feel this way, and more importantly, how you can regain your energy. Because, as Seneca once said, a calm soul can bear any burden. Today, we'll identify the weight you might be carrying that no longer serves you. Together, we'll reflect on 9 habits and thought patterns that drain your energy, and how you can break free from them to live with more peace and purpose. I'm Gabriel, and if this is your first time here, I invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications. Stay until the end, because understanding the last reason on this list might be the key to breaking free from constant exhaustion and reclaiming the vitality you deserve. Let's get started. Number 1. You're exhausted because you take care of everyone except yourself. Have you ever noticed how much time you spend worrying about others while putting yourself at the bottom of the list? It's a common pattern, especially for those who have spent much of their lives caring for family, friends, or even neighbors. But this habit, though well-intentioned, may be leading you to emotional and physical exhaustion. And the most concerning part? Many times you don't even realize it until it's too late. When you live constantly concerned about everyone else's well-being, believing that your worth is measured by how much you can give, you start neglecting yourself. This can show up in small ways, like ignoring a persistent ache, or in bigger ways, like putting your dreams on hold to meet others' expectations. But as Lao Tzu teaches in the Tao Te Ching, taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's the only way to truly care for others. This exhaustion runs deep, especially if you've spent years believing that your needs could always wait. Maybe as a parent, you put your children first. Now that they're adults, perhaps you feel your role is still to be there for them no matter what. But what about you? How much longer can you keep draining yourself without making space to recharge? A practical example of this pattern is the tendency to say yes, even when your body and mind are asking for rest. That phone call you answer when you just wanted to relax. That favor you agree to even though you're exhausted. Every small yes to others without a yes to yourself brings you one step closer to burnout. And as Swiss psychologist Carl Jung once said, what we do not face within ourselves becomes our fate. If you don't set boundaries, your body and mind will set them for you, but in a much harsher way. So, I invite you to reflect as you continue watching this video. When was the last time you gave yourself a day just for you? A day without guilt, without thinking about unfinished tasks or what others need. Maybe it's been a long time, or maybe you've never done it at all. But here's the key. Taking care of yourself isn't just important. It's essential. If you're not well, how can you truly be there for others? Start with something simple. Maybe it's a quiet morning walk, finally reading that book you've been putting off, or just sitting in silence and listening to how your body feels. These small acts of self-care are what replenish your energy and allow you to be more present and strong for those around you. As Marcus Aurelius said, no one can live your life for you nor carry your burdens. That is your task. Stop feeling guilty for prioritizing yourself. Instead of seeing it as selfish, recognize it as an act of love. Because by taking care of yourself, you ensure that you can continue to be the person others need, but also the person you need to be. Don't wait for your body or mind to scream for attention. Make yourself a priority today. Because in the end, you can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't give your best to others if you don't first give the best to yourself. Number 2, you're exhausted because you fill your days with unnecessary noise. Have you ever ended the day feeling drained but couldn't quite pinpoint why? Often, the cause isn't the physical tasks or visible commitments. It's the constant noise surrounding your mind and emotions. And I'm not just talking about the TV playing in the background or conversations that don't interest you, but the most invasive noise of all. That endless stream of worries, drama, and distractions filling your mind from the moment you wake up until you close your eyes at night. This invisible noise can be exhausting. Think about the negative news you consume, the conversations that drain your emotions, or the problems that aren't even yours, but somehow become your burden. It's as if every day you're filling a glass with tiny drops of stress until it overflows, depleting your energy and leaving you with nothing for what truly matters. The German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer once said, "Noise is torture for the intellect." But this isn't just about physical noise. It's about mental noise, the chaotic thoughts that won't let you rest. Every time you check another alarming headline, every time you get lost in someone else's drama, you're draining your ability to be present and at peace. The problem is, we live in a world that constantly invites us to consume more noise. Social media flooded with opinions, news designed to provoke fear, and conversations revolving around problems you can't control. But as Epictetus wisely said, worry only about what is within your control. Everything else is just a thief of your energy. Have you ever stopped to think about how much of this noise you actually need? Take a moment to reflect. How many of the problems occupying your mind today are truly yours? And how many are just echoes of external noise? This is a powerful question because it helps you identify what you can let go of to regain your sense of calm. If you want to reduce this noise, start with small steps. Maybe limit the time you spend consuming news, or set aside a moment each day to simply be in silence, free from distractions. One effective technique is practicing an information diet, where you consume only what truly enriches you. This might mean reading a good book, listening to calming music, or taking a walk without your phone. For example, imagine how much noise you could eliminate if you set aside just 10 minutes each day for quiet introspection. No screens, no conversations, just you with yourself. This small act has the power to restore your energy and bring clarity back to your mind. And if disconnecting feels difficult, here's a practical exercise. Choose a moment in your day to write down the worries and thoughts creating the most noise in your mind. Once they're on paper, ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, let it go. This simple habit not only frees your mind, but also helps you focus your energy on what truly matters. As you reflect on this, remember the words of Seneca. Nothing resembles peace more than a mind free from distractions. Eliminating noise doesn't mean isolating yourself, it means creating space for what's essential. Your time and energy are too valuable to waste on things that don't nourish you or belong to you. Make your days cleaner, quieter, and watch as the energy you thought was lost begins to return. Because when you turn down the noise, you'll find the serenity you've been searching for, the one that has always been waiting inside you. Number 3, you're exhausted because you carry the weight of who you think you should be. How many times have you wondered if you're being the person you're supposed to be? You may not say it out loud, but that invisible ideal weighs on your shoulders. The parent who always has the right answer, the grandparent who's always available, the older adult who never complains and always sets the example. These expectations, often shaped by others' opinions or the standards you set for yourself in the past, are like a backpack full of stones you carry every day, draining your energy without you even realizing it. This exhaustion isn't just physical, it's emotional. When you try to fit into an ideal, you force yourself to act out of obligation rather than authenticity. You become someone who constantly tries to maintain an image, sacrificing your true self. It's like being in an endless play, stuck in a role you never chose. As Carl Jung once said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But how can you do that if you're always trying to be someone else? Imagine this. You spend your days tending to everyone's needs, no matter how you feel. Always smiling, always available, even when your body and mind are crying out for a break. Maybe you don't even realize that this idealized version of yourself is slowly wearing you down. The perfection you're chasing isn't necessary. Because the truth is, no one expects as much from you as you do from yourself. The Stoics, like Epictetus, reminded us that the only thing truly ours is our ability to choose. But when you carry these unrealistic ideals, you're giving that power away to external expectations. You're allowing others, or that critical voice in your head, to dictate how you should live, how you should act, and even how you should feel. Take a moment to reflect. Where do these ideals you're trying to uphold actually come from? Are they truly yours, or were they imposed by your family, society, or past experiences? Maybe at one point in your life, they made sense, but now they no longer serve you. If you keep carrying them, they won't just exhaust you. They'll also pull you further away from the person you truly want to be. A simple yet powerful exercise is this. Take a piece of paper and write down a list of things you believe you should be. For example, I should be more patient, I should be stronger, or I should always be available for my children or grandchildren. Then, next to each statement, write what you truly want to be. Change, I should be stronger, to I can allow myself to ask for help when I need it. These new statements aren't just kinder to yourself, they also reflect the truth of your life today. In her book, The Power of Vulnerability, Brené Brown reminds us that when we let go of who we think we're supposed to be, we find who we truly are. This process doesn't happen overnight, but every small act of authenticity, saying no when you need to, taking a moment for yourself, expressing how you feel without fear of judgment, brings you closer to a lighter, more genuine life. Remember, you don't have to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to be perfect to be enough. As Seneca said, live according to nature. And part of that nature is accepting that you're human, that you have limits, and that it's okay to be imperfect. Let go of the weight of should. You don't need to be everything for everyone. You just need to be true to yourself, and in the end, that's what will make you feel freer and far less exhausted. Number 4, you're exhausted because you ignore your body when it speaks. That exhaustion you carry like a shadow is rarely just about lack of sleep or too much work. It runs deeper. It's as if life itself is draining you, but not for the reasons you might think. It's not the time spent in traffic or the tasks piling up on your to-do list. It's something more subtle, more deeply rooted. It's what happens when you ignore the connection between what you do, what you feel, and what you truly need. It's the result of a discomfort that doesn't shout, but whispers constantly, until one day you just can't take it anymore. Think about it. How many times have you felt inexplicably drained after spending hours with people who don't understand you, in places you don't enjoy, doing things you don't love? You tell yourself it's normal, that life is just like this, that everyone feels the same. But that's not true. That exhaustion is a symptom, a signal that something inside you is out of sync with the way you're living. It's as if every decision that doesn't align with you takes a small piece of your energy until one day you wake up feeling like there's nothing left. And no, this isn't something a nap or an extra cup of coffee can fix. The problem is that we still believe exhaustion is purely physical, when in reality, it's a mix of emotional burdens, unmet expectations, and a disconnection from what truly matters. The body, mind, and spirit aren't separate compartments. Everything is connected. If you push your body too hard, your mind suffers. If you ignore your emotions, your body will reflect it. It's a never-ending cycle of depletion. The worst part is that we've gotten used to ignoring the signs. When our bodies protest, we silence them. When our hearts ache, we justify it. And so we keep going, accumulating stress, piling up tomorrows that never come. We fill our days with obligations, commitments, and worries until one day we collapse. And we call it stress, or chronic fatigue, or any other name that makes us feel like it's out of our control. But deep down, we know that's not entirely true. The exhaustion I'm talking about isn't just from doing too much. It's from doing the wrong things, from carrying expectations that aren't yours, from living by someone else's rules, from ignoring that small voice inside that's been telling you something isn't right. It's like trying to fill a void with things that don't fit, over and over, until you finally realize the emptiness is still there, just as vast as before. So what can you do? It's not easy. It's not as simple as just doing less, because many of the things you do are necessary. But you can start with something even more important: being honest with yourself. Ask yourself what you really need, not what you've been told you should want. Ask yourself what gives you energy and what drains it, and listen. Listen to those answers, even if they're uncomfortable, even if they make you rethink the life you've built. Exhaustion isn't an enemy to defeat, it's a teacher trying to show you something. And the sooner you stop to learn from it, the sooner you'll start feeling lighter. Because in the end, it's not about doing less. It's about living more in alignment with who you truly are. And that, my friend, is the kind of rest no amount of sleep can give you. If you've made it this far, and you're finding new ways to understand your exhaustion and regain your energy using practical wisdom, I invite you to subscribe and hit the like button. It helps me continue creating content for those who want to navigate this stage of life with more clarity, purpose, and peace. Let me know in the comments. Where are you watching from? I'd love to hear from you. Stay until the end, because lesson number 9 might completely change the way you connect with the people you love and find peace in the emotional challenges of life. Let's keep going. Number 5, you're exhausted because you keep fighting against time. Time becomes more noticeable as we age, but it's not that there isn't enough time. It's the emotional weight of resisting the inevitable. That constant struggle against the passing years, against the changes that come with age, might be one of the deepest reasons for your exhaustion. Have you ever felt frustrated because you can't do things that once seemed effortless? Maybe climbing stairs feels harder, remembering a name takes longer, or you don't have the same energy for long walks. This feeling isn't just physical, it's the internal resistance to change that's truly draining you. It's like trying to stop a river with your hands. You use up energy, but the water keeps flowing. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, understood this struggle. He wrote, "Do not let your fear of change stop you. Everything in life is change, and resisting it only brings suffering." But this wisdom doesn't mean you should give up. It means accepting what you can't control while focusing your energy on what you can. Think about what happens when you refuse to accept these changes. You push yourself beyond what your body can handle, or you compare yourself to who you were 20 years ago. This creates a cycle of frustration that not only drains you emotionally, but also makes you miss out on the present. As Carl Jung said, what you resist persists. By resisting time, you turn it into an enemy, when in reality, it could be an ally. Take a moment to reflect. What am I missing out on by resisting time? Maybe it's the joy of a peaceful walk, simply because you compare it to how you used to run. Maybe it's the chance to rest and take care of yourself, because you still demand a pace from yourself that is no longer necessary. A simple exercise that can help is redefining what success looks like for you each day. Instead of measuring your day by how much you got done, measure it by the quality of how you experienced it. Did you enjoy your breakfast? Did you have a meaningful conversation with someone you care about? Did you take a short walk and feel the fresh air? These moments, small as they may seem, are life itself. You can also shift your perspective toward gratitude, not just for what time has taken, but for what it has given you. Instead of mourning what you can no longer do, think about everything you've learned and the wisdom you've gained. Poet Mary Oliver once asked, "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" Choosing to focus on the present isn't giving up, it's choosing to live with purpose despite the passing of time. Accepting time doesn't mean you should stop trying new things or abandon your goals. It means moving forward with self-compassion, recognizing your limits, and celebrating every small victory. Remember, it's not about how many years you have, it's about how you choose to live them. Stop fighting against time. Instead, flow with it. Because as Seneca once said, life is not measured in years, but in moments lived with intensity. And the most important moment will always be this one, the present. Number 6, you're exhausted because you've forgotten how to play and enjoy life without a purpose. As we grow older, we often leave behind playfulness, lightheartedness, and those spontaneous moments of joy that used to fill us with energy. We tell ourselves there's no time for such things, or worse, that they no longer matter. But this lack of purposeless enjoyment of doing something simply because it brings us happiness doesn't just drain our vitality, it also fuels an emotional exhaustion that's hard to shake. When was the last time you did something just for the sheer pleasure of it? Maybe it was dancing, painting, playing with your grandchildren, or simply taking a walk with no particular destination. These moments aren't just distractions, they are essential for revitalizing our minds and bodies. Yet society teaches us that even in retirement, everything must have a purpose. We feel guilty if we're not being productive or if we don't dedicate every moment to something serious. But this rigidity in our lives is a silent thief of energy. The Stoics, though known for their practical approach to life, also understood the importance of lightness and joy. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reflected on the need for balance. Life requires both work and rest, both seriousness and lightness. Even the greatest thinkers knew that the soul needs space to breathe in order to thrive. Modern psychology supports this idea. Studies in neuroscience show that moments of play and enjoyment activate areas of the brain linked to creativity, stress relief, and happiness. This doesn't mean you need to take up big activities. Something as simple as humming a song you love or tending to your plants can act as a balm for your mind. Take a moment to reflect. What activities did you once love but have set aside because you think they're no longer appropriate for your age? Maybe it's dancing in your living room to your favorite music, doodling even if you're not an artist, or playing a board game just for fun. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is reconnecting with that part of yourself that enjoys life without pressure or expectation. If you're not sure where to start, try something small. Set aside 10 minutes a day to do something with no practical purpose, something that simply makes you feel good. It could be listening to a song you love, staring at the sky for a few minutes, or sharing a laugh with someone close to you. These moments are not a waste of time. They are nourishment for your soul. British writer C.S. Lewis once said, "Play is not the opposite of work, it is its partner." Rediscovering the ability to play and enjoy yourself is an act of self-care that reminds you that life doesn't have to feel so heavy. Remember, you don't need permission to enjoy life. You don't have to wait for a special occasion or for someone else to invite you. Do it for yourself because you deserve it, because these are the moments that bring back the energy you've been longing for. Let playfulness and lightheartedness return to your life. Because in the end, it's not the big tasks that fill us with energy. It's those small moments of joy that brighten our days. Do it today, without guilt, and remember, there is no age for enjoying life. There is only one moment, now. Number 7, you're exhausted because you accumulate more than you release. Over the years, it's natural to accumulate things, memories, objects, emotions, promises, even grudges. But what you may not realize is how all of this becomes a weight you carry every day, draining your energy and taking up space that could be used for something new, something that truly makes you feel alive. This exhaustion doesn't come only from physical clutter, like that box of things you'll use someday, or the furniture you no longer need, but can't bring yourself to let go of. It runs much deeper. You also accumulate unresolved emotions, unspoken conversations, resentments you never released, and commitments that no longer align with your life today. And all of it weighs more than you think. Seneca once said, "It's not the amount of things you own that burdens you, but what you allow to own you." In other words, it's not how many things or emotions you carry that exhaust you. It's the inability to let go when they no longer serve you. Holding on to this emotional baggage is like trying to run a race with a backpack full of stones. You're using up energy, but you're not moving forward as lightly as you could. Think about the commitments you maintain just because you feel you should. Maybe it's visits you don't enjoy, promises you made years ago that no longer matter, or the need to keep everything because you believe it might be useful someday. Ask yourself, how much of this actually adds something positive to my life today? Letting go doesn't mean making drastic changes overnight. You can start small by choosing one area of your life where you feel weighed down. For example, open a drawer filled with old belongings and go through each item, asking yourself, does this truly serve me, or is it just taking up space? The same applies to emotions. If you've been carrying resentment or guilt for years, maybe it's time to release it. One simple practice is writing a letter that you never send, expressing those feelings. The act of writing and letting go can already bring relief. In Buddhist philosophy, there's a teaching about impermanence. Nothing lasts forever, not objects, not emotions. Clinging to something that no longer belongs in your life doesn't make it more valuable. It only holds you back. Thich Nhat Hanh said, "Letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness." Letting go doesn't mean rejecting your past or the things that were once important to you. It means making space for new experiences, new emotions, and new moments that nourish you in the present. What if today you chose to release something? Just one thing. Maybe an object you haven't used in years, or a worry that's outside of your control. Imagine how much lighter life would feel if, each day, you let go of just a little more unnecessary weight. The truth is, you can't fill a cup that's already full. If you want something new to enter your life, you must first create space for it. So today, allow yourself to let go. Release what you no longer need, what no longer serves you, what no longer brings you peace. Do it with gratitude, recognizing that those things or emotions had their purpose in the past. But now, it's time to move forward. As Marcus Aurelius said, when you free yourself from the unnecessary, you find the essential. And the essential is living with more peace, more space, and more energy for what truly matters, the present. Number 8, you're exhausted because you expect life to be fair. At some point, we've all felt that life isn't fair. Maybe you worked hard for years, but never received the recognition you deserved. Perhaps you gave everything to your children only to feel like they're not as present in your life as you expected. Or maybe you're facing physical or emotional challenges that simply don't seem fair. This feeling of injustice, though natural, can be one of the deepest sources of exhaustion. The expectation that things should be a certain way creates a silent but constant struggle. Every time you think, "This shouldn't be happening to me," or "It's not fair that things turned out this way," you're engaging in an emotional battle against reality. But the truth is, life doesn't always follow our rules or expectations. As Epictetus said, it is not things that disturb us, but our opinions about them. Expecting fairness, in the human sense of balance and equity, is like searching for perfect symmetry in a forest. Some branches are straight, others are twisted, but they all belong to the same landscape. What truly matters isn't how things should be, but how you choose to face them as they are. Think about how much energy you spend resisting what is. Every time you dwell on what someone should have done for you or what life should have given you, you're exhausting yourself in a battle with no resolution. Because, as Seneca put it is useless to complain about what is already done. The wise focus on what they can change. This doesn't mean you should resign yourself to everything that happens. It means shifting your energy toward what you can control, your response. For example, instead of feeling hurt because your children aren't as present as you hoped, you could focus on strengthening connections with those who are in your life, or even find new ways to engage with your children from a place of peace rather than unfulfilled expectations. Life, as Marcus Aurelius said, is neither good nor bad. It is what we make of it. If you stop expecting life to be fair, you can free yourself from constant frustration and start focusing on what life is giving you. It may not be the life you once imagined, but it can still be filled with beauty if you choose to see it. Take a moment to reflect. How many of your frustrations come from expecting something that isn't in your control? Make a list of the expectations that feel heavy on your shoulders. Do you expect someone to apologize? Do you expect life to be easier? Then ask yourself, what can I do with this exactly as it is? This simple shift in perspective can save you an immense amount of emotional exhaustion. As Viktor Frankl, Holocaust survivor and founder of logotherapy, said, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." True justice isn't found in what life gives us, but in how we choose to live with dignity, no matter the circumstances. Today, allow yourself to let go of the need for life to be fair. Instead, focus on what you can appreciate, what you can build, and how you can find peace even in life's imperfections. Because when you stop waiting for fairness, you gain something even more valuable: freedom. Number 9. You're exhausted because you don't accept other people's actions. There's a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from what we do, but from what we feel when we try to change others. This type of fatigue is especially common when it comes to the people we love most: our children, grandchildren, partners, or close friends. You wear yourself out expecting them to act the way you think they should, to do what you would do in their place, or to recognize the effort you've put into their lives. But that resistance, that constant struggle against what others choose to do or not do, can drain your energy faster than any physical effort. Maybe you wish your children were more present, that they reached out more often, or that they showed the gratitude you feel you deserve. Or perhaps it frustrates you to see them making decisions that, in your eyes, are irresponsible or unwise. These expectations, though born from love, often become a source of frustration and emotional exhaustion. Seneca said, "We are not disturbed by what happens, but by our opinion of it." When we resist the choices or behaviors of others, we tie ourselves emotionally to something we can't control. Because at the end of the day, people act based on their perspectives, their priorities, and their life journeys, not ours. Think about how many times you've spent your energy on arguments, worries, or disappointments because someone didn't act as you expected. That kind of struggle is endless because it's beyond your control, and refusing to accept other people's actions is like trying to stop the wind, an effort that will only leave you drained and with nothing to show for it. Here's a powerful question to reflect on. How much of your peace depends on what others do? How much of your happiness is tied to whether your children call more often, whether your grandchildren visit, or whether someone finally says the words you need to hear? When you allow your well-being to depend on others' actions, you're handing over your power. Acceptance doesn't mean you approve of everything others do. It means choosing not to waste your energy trying to change something that isn't yours to control. You can express your feelings, share your desires, but then release the expectation of how they should respond. As Epictetus said, some things are up to us and some things are not. Try this exercise. The next time someone close to you does something that frustrates or disappoints you, ask yourself, is this under my control? If the answer is no, take a deep breath and say to yourself, I choose to let it go. This isn't an act of weakness, it's an act of inner strength, because by letting go, you're not giving up, you're setting yourself free. Also remember that relationships are not static. Children and grandchildren have their own lives, their own challenges. What feels like a deep disconnect today might, over time, become an opportunity for closeness. But for that to happen, you need to clear the emotional space currently occupied by frustration and resentment. Accept that you can't control other people's actions, but you can decide how you respond. Instead of focusing on what they don't do, shift your attention to what you can do, cultivate your peace, take care of yourself, and continue showing love from a place of serenity, not expectation. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. And many of those thoughts are shaped by how you choose to interpret other people's actions. Free yourself from that burden, and you'll find that the energy you once spent resisting others will now be available for something far more important: your well-being, your projects, and your inner peace. We've reached the end of this journey, and I hope each of these reflections has helped you understand where that deep exhaustion comes from, the kind that sometimes feels unexplainable. Life isn't always easy, but by identifying what drains our energy and making conscious choices, we can rediscover a lighter, more fulfilling way to live. Remember, it's not about eliminating all challenges or changing others. It's about changing how we face them. Every day, you have the chance to choose peace over conflict, acceptance over resistance, and connection with yourself over the endless pursuit of meeting external expectations. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. And the quality of those thoughts depends on how you choose to care for your mind and spirit. You don't have to do it all at once. Small steps, small daily decisions can make a huge difference. Maybe it's letting go of an expectation, giving yourself a few minutes to rest, or simply allowing yourself to enjoy a moment without guilt. That is the true beginning of a more peaceful life. My name is Gabriel, and if this is your first time on the channel, I invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the upcoming topics we'll be exploring. And if you've made it this far, it means you take your well-being and personal growth seriously, and that deserves recognition. To know who's truly committed and reached the end, comment the phrase, "I am Stoic," and tell me where you're watching from. I'd love to know where in the world you're tuning in from and walking this path of self-discovery with me. And before you go, share this video with your loved ones. There may be someone in your life who needs to hear these words today, to release burdens and find a new perspective. Sometimes, a small piece of advice can make a big difference. See you in the next video, and remember, there is always time to choose to take care of yourself, step by step, with love and purpose.